I get in your team news ahead of Middlesbrough?
Well, from the last game, I believe that we have a chance to get Peter Cech back in the squad, and Laurent Koscielny, who is joining in today. So if he has their tests are positive, they will come back in the squad for Monday's game.
The latest on Lucas Perez and David Ospina?
Ospina and Perez are still out.
Alexis has been named on the six-man shortlist for PFA Player of the Year. What's your reaction to that?
I'm very happy because it rewards, I think, a very strong season. If you look at the numbers, his goal-scoring record is good, his assists are good, and I believe always that the combination of goal-scoring and assists is a real witnesses really the quality of a player.
Looking at those numbers, particularly the goals, 22 in all competitions this season. Why do you think he has been so clinical in front of goal?
Because he played for a while centre forward, you know, and because he has a short back lift, good quality of reception, good first touch, and has the focus needed to score. That means he plays with a kind of aggressive attitude in the box that allows him to score. Unfortunately, he's a player who likes the ball a lot, you know, likes to touch the ball. So he basically, I would say, is more attracted by a wide position. It's one of a few times you see that because he prefers basically to play wide when up front, and because he can get more the ball, he likes more to get the ball. So he has to keep that balance between providing and goal scoring, and because he has both in the locker.
Arsene, just on Cech and Koscielny, what are the chances of them making it for Monday? How would you rate
80%.
So that's pretty good.
At the moment, it's pretty good, but sometimes the 20% play a villain part in the final preparation.
After what happened at Crystal Palace on Monday, how have things been over the last couple of days?
Not very enjoyable, as you certainly know, but bad moments are part of our job as well, and I think you focus to prepare and make sure that in our next game we respond in a strong way.
What are the lessons that you need to learn from what happened there?
Well, that to play with restriction and with a little bit handbrake doesn't help the performance, and that we are under pressure to deliver, and the best way to do it is to play with freedom and accept the risk. In football, you have to, when you want to play, you have to accept the risk that things can go wrong, but there are more chances to go wrong if you play with a little bit restriction in your game.
What did you make, though, of what Theo Walcott said about Crystal Palace wanting it more? I mean, is that acceptable, that Arsenal want it less?
It is not acceptable, as you said, but I think the players were conscious of that. On that front, we were in the decisive duels. What I said straight away after the game. We were beaten, and you have to face reality and respond.
And what sort of response do you need to show?
Well, just as I told you, you know, you can never guarantee in football. You have to accept that the risk is part of it, and that you can win, lose or draw. But what you want, the real response, is to play with total commitment and with total belief in what we do.
Mesut Ozil has been speaking to us. He's indicated that his future isn't going to be sorted until the summer. Is that a disappointment to you?
No, because it's not in the final part of the season now with 8 games to go. You know, it's difficult to get distracted. I think we have to focus on the right things, and after that, in the summer you have a longer period for the club to negotiate and plan the future.
I need to ask you about your future. Has anything changed? Has
Nothing.
there been any development?
Nothing.
Tell me, are you speaking with Stan Kroenke on a regular basis?
Well, I believe our relationship has always been the same and has not changed.
And what's your take on how things are in the boardroom at the moment? Are they of one voice, or are there divisions there?
I don't know. Honestly, I think what's happening above in the board is not down to me. It's I focus on what is important for me is the performance of a team, and what the fans are interested in is the performance of a team.
You've dealt with some big challenges as Arsenal boss over the last 20 years.
Yeah, you can say that.
8 games to go, 7 points off the top 4. Just how big is this challenge?
Massive. And we might get there, we might not get there, but the only thing to get there is to think, is to believe we can do it, you know, and that's what we have to focus on. It's not the fear to fail, it's the desire to make it, and that's the only chance we have to do it.
Is it as big a challenge as you face?
It's a big challenge, yes, of course.
Lost 4 in a row away from home in the Premier League. Is losing at Middlesbrough unthinkable?
As I just told you, in football you have to accept that you can win, lose or draw, but you have to give everything to win the next game, and that's what we want, you know. And unthinkable, nothing is unthinkable in football, but you have to make sure that you perform in the next game and give absolutely everything.
In the light of what happened in Germany this week, how do you regard security at the moment? How concerned are you about Arsenal travelling to matches?
Well, we have security. You have 2 securities. One internal security organised by the club, and then the public security organised by the state or the government. And I think internally we have improved our level of security and protection. But I think it's a very sad way that our society develops, you know, because even today, you come out of a football game, you cannot speak to a fan without having a bodyguard around you. And I find that personally, you cannot go to your room anymore without having security in hotels. And I find that a very sad side of the development of our society. But on the other hand, it just reflects what our society is about today, is that there is insecurity there, and it's just in sport like in any other part of a society.
Finally, can I ask you about Mark Overmars? He has said that Arsenal might be an option as director of football. Is that something you're aware of?
No, I'm not. I like Mark Overmars. But he's director of football at Ajax Amsterdam. I'm sure there's plenty of candidates to take care of Arsenal Football Club. I'm not worried about that.
Do you sense that things need to change in terms of a structure, though? Is a director of...
No, you know, it's always difficult, you know. We spend a lot of time in our society to focus on things that are superficial and not take care of the essential. The essential in football, we have to make sure is one thing, is players, good players on the football pitch, and that's what we have to take care of.
Arsene, in over 20 years at this club, you've gone through many ups and downs, mainly ups. You always talk about trying to improve as a manager. What have you learned from this bad spell?
No, that's I give myself the same message I get to the players, you know, get better. Go out of this room today and try to get better. What I've learned is what I knew already, is that football is a complex part of individual performance and team performance, and that when things don't go well, you test it more on the mental front than on the technical quality. And that's our test at the moment is there, is how much can we not be divided but united by and focused and motivated by the challenge we have in front of us.
So you feel this is largely down to character rather than a lack of ability?
Top-level sport is about character, you know. I find you hundreds of players who have the same technical level than the players we have, but the top level is a final part. What makes a result is a mentality, the character.
So how do you change that? How do you make it better?
Don't change it. The players, these players are at that level because they have the character. But under difficult circumstances, the confidence can drop and can be a bit contagious, you know. And therefore, it's important to rebuild. And the energy in a team can change in 3 days. You know, can come back as well very quickly. We had a good game against West Ham. 5 days later, we had a bad game at Crystal Palace. So that can come back very quickly, and we have to focus on that.
Under those circumstances, do players sometimes need a shock? Do they need strong words? Have you been angrier than you've ever been at Arsenal?
I think at the moment it's important I do not talk too much about what we do internally. And of course, you cannot be not angry after our performance at Crystal Palace. But it's important as well that we don't talk too much and focus on action.
What sort of a challenge does Middlesbrough hold for you? They have
Challenge you have in the Premier League everywhere is that we have to be more efficient offensively, because we had 70% of the ball at Crystal Palace and didn't score, and much more efficient as a team defensively, and defend all together and make sure that we win the decisive duels that we have lost.
And just one last thing. You talked there about the players not playing with a handbrake on, not playing with fear. And yet in many of your recent matches, you have had the majority of possession.
Yeah.
Isn't there a disconnect between the two there?
Not really, because, you can have a kind of negative possession. That means a possession where you go nowhere and do not create any clear-cut chances, and as well, you can have possession because the opponent leaves you the possession, you know. And but I just think at some stage, football is happiness, is freedom to express, and desire to win, and that comes only if you really have the belief behind that sustains it.
Good morning, Arsene. There were reports yesterday that Alexis has been offered as much as £300,000 a week to stay.
Let me calculate. How much is that per year? Yes, okay.
More than me.
More than you. I find that surprising and outrageous.
Do yourself and the club accept that players like Alexis and his quality player that you look to bring in the summer are going to be asking for those kind of figures now?
First of all, I cannot confirm that we have offered that. Secondly, we will do as always. You know, we have to consider our financial potential to sustain the wages for the whole squad. And what is for sure is what is paid per week today was 20 years ago per year. And will that continue to go up? I don't know. I always am tempted to say no, but I was always wrong on that front.
Thank you very much.